Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here with your weekly Traversing the Transits with Teri Hunter. We're going to look at what's coming up this week astrologically, and then we're going to do a reading where I use my angel deck. I use the Legend of Avalon, as well as pulling a tarot card for each one of the signs to get the angels' advice for how to traverse these transits most efficiently and to our greatest liking. The transits themselves have been offering us a lot of contrast, a lot of awareness, and a lot of choice. Those things aren't always easy, but they are why the soul comes to this experience. So what I'm going to do is pull up the weekly wheel, and we're going to go through it a little bit, and then we'll start our readings. So let me share my screen with you. There we go. All right, so we're starting Sunday afternoon, it looks like. This is Father's Day in the United States, so I want to wish everyone fur daddies and human daddies and those that care for other people, even if you're not officially a parent, happy Father's Day. All right, so here we see the first thing I can't help but see is to notice Pluto's retrograde is making a quincunx to this group of planets up here. We've got the sun at 26 degrees of Gemini. This is Mercury at 28 and then Venus at 29. The quincunx is a challenging dynamic where it's almost like a blind side. The planets don't really see eye to eye. Now, if we look at the idea of the sun as how I'm projecting myself out into the world, it's my ego assertion, my ambition, Mercury ruling my thoughts and my speech, as well as my everyday activities, and then Venus ruling my self-worth and my money, as well as my partnerships. This combination is giving us an opportunity for some kind of transformation that will unearth something that has been tethering us to a smaller version of ourselves. That's what I want to say. I think that as we move further and further into the Aquarian age, we're going to recognize that our thoughts are things, and our concentrated thought starts to kick in the laws of attraction, which then brings in the people, the situations, the dynamics that support our line of thought. So this could be potentially where we don't even see our line of thought. We don't even see how we are inadvertently falling into some sort of pattern versus making a specific choice through our awareness. I think this is further evidence. I'm just going to click on Mercury as it's in the middle of this little group of planets here. I'm not going to address the moon right now because I think the moon is moving very quickly. I'm going to rather focus on Neptune. Neptune is here at 29 degrees of Pisces, and it's going to remain there before it retrogrades back into Pisces. This is going to happen later in the year, but right now it's creating a square, which is a tense moment where we just don't quite, I always think of it as a fork in the road. One side of me is responding in a habitual, imprinted way, sort of unconsciously. And then I'm stretching on the other side to see the wisdom of the situations I've walked through or the people I've encountered, and to allow a broader sense of meaning to come into those situations. So we see this blind side to Pluto, which is literally transformation, death, and rebirth, the power and control others have over me. In the sign of my everyday activities, and the sign of my workmates, teammates, my neighborhoods, my individual communities, my schools, my children, my siblings. This is making a square here to Neptune. What have I been avoiding? What have I allowed to be too foggy or to be erosive to my soul? And am I willing to stretch myself into a place of bringing my divine principles into my everyday experience. So often you'll hear people talk about meditation, and that is our quieting of the mind, which I actually think is impossible. But what I do think is that setting intentions every day, and Neptune supporting using the water element. I would like to offer each one of you that's listening to this an opportunity to use your daily shower, or when, your shower time, as a way to connect with spirit, as a way to call forth and put out your intentions and to have that conversation. And then to allow on some sort of, I guess it's surrender to the transformation of the things that you are unaware of that you operate on. So let's just say that, for instance, as an example, that you were raised in a family that was very frugal. Money doesn't grow on trees. Money is hard. Money does not come to me easily. The transformation would be that is a vibration. And your thoughts may concentrate on, I need to work hard to make money. And yet you're being offered an opportunity through an uncomfortable dynamic to stretch and call forth the universe in to bring you the people, the situations to bring more money. This is just one example. And that's where the square to Neptune can be challenging, because it can seem silly, or it can seem like, oh, that's just too much. That's fantasy, that's illusion. And yet those of us that have been practicing the divine laws of the universe and in awareness of them are experiencing them in our everyday lives as very powerful and very, they're master skills that we are practicing. So I think this is going to be a powerful dynamic throughout the whole week, because as we move forward in the week, we're going to see, I'm just going to move the calendar forward. We see that planets are still grouped together. We go further and further into the week. We're seeing this. Okay, so then it sort of quiets down towards the end of the week, when we're just really seeing the sun involved here. But at the same time, this is a very powerful theme for the week. What are my thoughts? What are my thoughts about my self-worth, about the money that I make, my resources, my feminine friendships, my everyday life, my siblings? As I'm going to back up again, because I just wanted to point out that these are hanging out together. Now, let me just back up a little bit. Okay, so now I want to offer this too, because we are seeing that there's still this square between Mars and Pluto. Last week, it was much more intense as the square was tighter, but we're still feeling this kind of more of a lower vibration of these two planets as they are sort of knocking it out. So this is where I think exercising wisdom and not poking the bear of our own emotions, meaning this: if there's people that inflame you, situations that irritate you, you would best be served to be aware of those situations and then gauge your own ability to walk through them. And if for some reason you're, at your wit's end, or you're at you're unsure of your, how do I want to put this, your vibration, then I would defer to the more conservative dynamic. Okay, let's move forward here. Because the other thing I wanted to point out, Saturn is stationing to retrograde. So as we go through the week, we've got this strong dynamic. The square has laid off a little bit here between these two, meaning Pluto and Mars. And yet the square with Neptune is still in play. So this is the main theme of the week: transformation, to recognize where there has been giving up of power, an illusion of some kind, hoping maybe somebody's going to change or something's going to change. And there's repeated patterns that support that is not potentially going to happen. And then there's this dynamic about, what do you want to do with it? Let me go back again, because I wanted to point out, as Mercury and Venus move into Cancer, we will also feel this very much bringing up our childhood, how we were raised, the kind of things that we experienced in the way of our nurturing, how we interacted with the maternal energy, which does not have to necessarily represent a female, but somebody who would have taken on the maternal nurturing role in your life. It's going to be very much be in your thoughts, or you could be interacting with people who bring a sense of that nostalgia and that experience to you. So I think that's important. Venus is happy as a clam, I think, in Cancer. And at the same time, with the square to Neptune and this quincunx to Pluto, there's a lot of underbelly coming up that offers us an opportunity to reconcile an experience versus maybe feeling pulled under or feeling like we're in some kind of riptide. That would be Neptune. All righty. As we move on, we see that the dynamics are pretty much staying the same. We have a nice little trine. Jupiter, as it moves into further into Gemini, is making a trine to the south node, and that's going to grow in its intensity, which gives us an opportunity to broaden our thoughts about where we have been, about what we've experienced in the way of partnership, in the way of creating peace for ourselves, in the way of fairness, balance, a sense of diplomacy, a sense of connectedness to something maybe bigger than we have felt before. So I think that this is going to be very powerful as we continue to experience Jupiter's trining the other air signs. So I think that's pretty fun. Okay, let me see where we are here in the week real quick. Okay, we're midweek. Let's go to the 21st. The dynamics have not really changed much. What we're starting to see here is a square between the nodes and Mercury. This is going to grow in intensity, but we're going to feel this more probably in next week, and because as our thoughts are on home and on how we have experienced home, Venus is going to come up behind that, really accentuating the role of the females in our lives, the role of how we felt valued, how we value our resources, our property, our literally the land on which we walk. Okay. And let's just go to the 22nd. Again, the theme is very specific for me this week. Really focused on the Sun and Venus and Mercury making their transit into Cancer, bringing our thoughts and our emotions into a place of really sort of revisiting some of the childhood, as I said, experiences, how we feel we were nurtured, also how we nurture, how we receive nurturing, how we give nurturing, how we process what the word healing means to some people. I prefer the word balance because it gives a different connotation. Healing makes me feel like I'm broken. Balance makes me feel like I'm just adjusting my perception, which is giving me a tool. So I think that's really important. All right, so now I'm going to stop sharing my screen and we'll start with our readings. So what I'm going to do is start with the birthday month, as I always do, which is Gemini, and then we're going to move around the zodiac. We'll pull one tarot card for each rising sign, and then we'll do an angel spread. So let's go. Gemini, ooh, I love it. This is the Empress. The Empress is the equivalent of Venus. We see the Venus marking on that heart pillow. She is very fertile. It's inferred that she is pregnant, and she is a master because her crown is a crown of stars. So she's very aware of how she manifests through her connection to the divine. And her scepter being held up by her head very much makes me feel as if this is, see how her head is illuminated with this power of the yellow color? This is how she is so fertile. She knows how to draw in the things that she wants to experience to her versus focusing in on the challenges. So let's see. Our first angel is the angel Shanti, the angel of peace and tranquility. We have Isabella saying yes, that the timing is right for a new experience. We see Archangel Gabriel, very much Gemini energy for me, talking about your communication style, how you talk about yourself to yourself, and how you interact creatively in your world. And then we have Chantal, the angel of love and romance. Now, Venus rules love and romance, but I want to offer it this way because not everybody is looking for an intimate partner. Sometimes what we're looking for is feeling a sense of love for our life, for ourselves, for the things that we've created. So we see Shanti being joined by Merlin, which represents alchemy, justice, and balance. We see Isabella being joined by the Raven. The timing really is right for this new joyous energy. We see the Grail Knight joining Archangel Gabriel and the angel's advice, which is really bowing down to the sacredness of your heart and what it is that you want. And in the final position, joining Chantal is the Wealth card. This is just magnificent. Now, let's just think about this. Your second house is Cancer. The second house naturally rules your skills and your money. It's the sign of Taurus. So we see the Empress, who has, the Venusian energy, the money, the partnerships, the friendships. Now is a time to focus in and to let yourself relax a little bit, Gemini. Let your mind sort of go drift into more frivolous and things that bring out a sense of curiosity and interest for you. They don't have to be big, because Isabella is saying, yes, the timing is right for you to enjoy yourself a little bit. The bones have been picked clean. It's time to fly off of this situation and allow the magic of its coagulation, where something starts to make sense. And I think what that's going to be is that now is a time to start to focus in on what you seek the sacred in. Whatever it is you want to experience. And then there's this Grail Knight. I don't know why I want to say it this way, but there's this, I think it's an AARP commercial. I'm being bombarded as I'm about to turn 65 with AARP and Medicare stuff. But there's a commercial that says something to the effect of, Jane doesn't know it now, but 10 years from now, she's going to be living her dream life. And then they show her with, whatever her dream life is, because now Chantal, the angel of romance, is really talking about reignition of what you love in your life. And that this is where the wealth comes, the harmonious wealth of feeling a flow of resources connected with others. This is very much an opportunity to start to allow this balance to sit in by focusing in on what can be versus what has been. All right, let's go on to our Cancers, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our angel card is the Sun. Now, this is a lovely energy. It traditionally, this is considered the Leo card. But the thing that's so beautiful about this is the sunflowers as they grow up above the block wall. Right? So even if there's been something that has been blocking you or making you feel as if you can't see how things are going to play out, that things are growing behind the scenes. There's also Apollo, that's the child on the white horse, here offering a sense of naivete and trust in the experience. I think this really sort of red-orange flag is really powerful because it's so large. And here is Apollo holding it. It's bigger than he is, but he is heralding in a new day where there is fun, where I'm taking leadership of my joy. Let's see, Cancer, where we're going with this. Our first angel is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right. Vanessa is about faith or fear. How will I make my decisions? Layla is in the angel's advice saying, talk to God and the angels for a positive perspective. And Archangel Uriel is working on you for any frustrations you have had through the gestation process. And that gestation is whatever it is that you want to experience or create in your life. Because we're all at different chapters with different desires. So Isabella is being joined by the letting go card. Now I want to offer this for my Cancers. The letting go card is not about letting go. When I first started working for myself 10 years ago, I would listen to Let It Go from the movie Frozen. It's funny how some distance makes everything look small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. It's time to see what I can do to test the limits to break through. No right, no wrong, no rules for me. I'm free. Leo is the leader of the Zodiac, the sun, the person who expresses themselves, their personal expression. This is about letting go of your fear, but not letting go of it. It's let go of your let you express your broadness, your talents, your creativity, your ideas. Yes, the timing is right for this. Vanessa is saying, will you make your decisions based on faith or fear? Because there is a rebirth being offered to you as you make your decisions based on faith, which is what this child is doing. There's no harness. There's nothing strapping him in or her in. We think of this as Apollo, but we also want to open it up. And holding the flag of my desires, what I want for me. Layla is being joined by the water fairy. Talk to God about your emotions. Ask God and the angels for signs and omens that will appease any fears that you have. Spirit understands how hard the human experience is, but they cannot do anything without our invitation. And so as we express things with an invitation, then Spirit has opportunity to move those pieces around. We see Archangel Uriel being joined by the mystery card, because now there is a call for you to join in the co-creation, Cancer. Will I be frustrated? Will I only look with my eyes at what I'm creating, or will I know there is more for me? That things take sometimes, it's not just me wanting one thing, it's all the components that come along with it. So if let's just say that you're of an age where you want to find an intimate partner, there's also the journey of the partner to you. So as you call forth that partner and tell Spirit, I have faith that all things will come to me in the way of love and romance that I want, and I'm not going to look at the clock, but rather know how I feel about it, you are accelerating the process. So they're really working with you on any level of insecurity that you may have about not receiving what it is that you want to experience. All right, let's go on to our Leos. Rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is, your tarot card is the Five of Wands. Now, this is a very interesting energy for me, because when you first look at it, it looks like competition. But on closer inspection, you will actually see that these guys are all standing around, pretty much holding their wands in a very awkward position. I mean, you can see this guy right over here. Look at, he's just holding his up straight. This guy over here, he's doing the same thing. Look at this guy over here. He almost looks like he's carrying his away. So there's an awkwardness here that I relate to. Now, the fives can represent a sense of freedom. So let's see if we're going to get a sense of freedom from our awkwardness or anything that makes us feel awkward. Clumsy, unsure of ourselves because we're not used to this journey. All right. Our first angel for Leo is Mystique. Keep charging ahead. Don't take no for an answer. We have Indriel, the light worker, encouraging you to shine your light on the world. We have Layla in the same position as it was for Cancer, talking to God and the angels. And then we have Isaiah talking about new beginnings and new ideas. Mystique is being joined by the eagle. That's very powerful. Very, very powerful, because that's spirit. Stay connected to the angelic realm. Stay connected to your team and your guides, and do your best, Leo, to go into your heart. You rule the heart, you rule the spine, the courage to follow the heart, because Indriel is being joined by the letting go card, which is as you shine your light and you connect with your team, fear becomes more of a tool of empowerment than it does an anchor or a cement shoes to hold you down. We have Layla being joined by the swan, and then we have Isaiah being joined by Merlin. So I want to offer this. The awkwardness potentially could be, now, if you're an early born Leo, you're experiencing the opposition to Pluto. So there could be something outside of yourself that's challenging you in a way that's saying, which direction are you going to go? Are you going to give in and be overwhelmed and overpowered, or will you stay the course and allow the universe to open a space for you to walk through and calm the energies? Because this Mystique is offering miracles, but miracles are simply alignment to your truth, to the depths where there's no wobble, there's no unsuredness. It's like, yes, it's happening. It's just a matter of time, and time is up to somebody else, spirit in this case. Then we have Indriel, offering you an epiphany that allows you to see how fear serves you versus tanks you. Now we see your transformation, but it's also just, the swan is just taking flight. So there's still a certain amount of a journey to go as you get used to your wings and connecting with spirit, because in the final position is alchemy, justice, and balance in the form of Merlin being joined by Isaiah. New beginnings are happening, and those new beginnings feel like a sense of confidence as you move into more authentic levels of your being energy and expressing them out into the world. All right, let's go into our Virgos. Rising moon, sun, and stelliums. All right, here we go. All right, my Virgos. This is the Two of Wands. This is a very Aryan energy. I believe in the sun is represented in this card astrologically. So there's a projection. The sun is exalted in Aries. This is holding the world in your hands while you're looking to create something new. This is very much a boss energy for me. And this too, well, it could infer cooperation with others. It feels like it's a cooperation between my mind and my heart, and that my inspiration is leading me in many ways. Okay, let's see where we're going. All right, my Virgos. Isaiah is our first angel. Then we have Zana, the angel of protection. Then we have Archangel Gabriel. And finally, we have Vanessa. Vanessa represents faith over fear in our decision-making processes. Isaiah is being joined by the novice, another energy of a new beginning. This absolutely infers reshaping my world, looking at my world and deciding where I want to go. So it's a new beginning. Zana, the angel of protection, is being joined by disruption. You are being protected from disruption as you allow this journey of authenticity, of what comes from your heart, not your duty. Archangel Gabriel is talks about communication, and the Lady of the Lake talks about my absolute truth. So what am I here? I know there's a war between my head and my emotional body. We see this inferred by the wind in her hair and the seas at her feet, but the truth, Excalibur, is held ever so delicately in the middle. And there's Archangel Gabriel talking about you have a divine life purpose that involves your vision of you. And as you transform from the dutiful one, from the one that is of service to others, to their needs, and recognize that service to yourself is actually service to others, you will find a power within yourself that you never knew existed. Here, Vanessa is asking you to focus on faith. This may be the new beginning. When it comes to Virgo, literally rules slavery to other people's agendas, employers, the slave to our health. So we know that Saturn is opposing the house of Virgo as it transits Pisces. So this is a time for new beginnings and I almost want to say it this way, Virgo, your discernment, your ability to process something mentally could very well be your inner knowing speaking to you very loudly. And if for some reason it disagrees disruption and protection, then your experience of trusting your inner knowing will help focus your faith moving forward as you begin to take steps to identify a new chapter of your life that's focused more on your desires than it is on the desires of others who need you. All right. There we go. On to our Libras, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. And for our Libras, we have the Three of Cups. This is not only a card of celebration. There has been a long season of tending to the garden, and now it's flourishing. It's bearing fruit. And it also represents the three phases of the woman: the young, naive, the I hate to use certain words, and whenever I get close to crone, I kind of freak out. But the mature, the more seasoned middle chapter, and then we have the wise woman, as I like to call her. So we have the innocent, the mother, the maternal, and then we have the wise one. And they're celebrating their, I think they're celebrating their journey of wisdom. And that's where the real harvest comes in. So let's look and see where we're going. We also see primarily pumpkins. So this very much can refer to a fall type of energy where there's more bounty to be harvested through your wisdom. All right, Libra. Our first angel is Oceana. The second is Archangel Uriel. The third is Ariel. And the final is Patience. Now, for our Libra risings, we know that through the house of self, Libra for you, is the South Node. And in the North Node is in your house of partnerships. This is a significant transit because it's asking you on some level to be egoless to the opinions of others as you stretch for your own individuality in the midst of creating peace, harmony, and cooperation. These two signs, naturally, Aries is the first house and Libra is the seventh house. When we see them flipped like this, we're looking at balance between the we and the me. So here we go. Oceana is being joined by the frog. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the focus card. Ariel is being joined by the Grail Knight. And Patience is being joined by the High Priestess. This is really where I really do think that there is a sense of awareness for my Libras coming in, a sense of harvesting the experiences you've had to create more bounty for yourself. Oceana is really about trusting my inner knowing, trusting the voice inside of me that sounds a little bit too airy-fairy, maybe sometimes too loving, and yet it's the truth of who I am. And when I saw this frog, while it represents emotional cleanup, I couldn't help but think in the Asian cultures, the frog represents bounty. You know, you go to an Asian restaurant, often they'll have a frog with a coin in its mouth at the cash register. I feel like this is your bounty comes through your trusting your intuitive body. Now, on the opportunity or the obstacle is the focus card and Archangel Uriel talking about frustration, anger, and unforgiveness. To me, this feels as if I'm aware that I have been potentially focused in on some kind of lack, some kind of challenge. I don't know that I would say that everybody is angry. I think Archangel Uriel's representing something broader in this case. And in doing so, we're starting to understand that when I focus on what doesn't work, my wisdom tells me I create more of what doesn't work. So now I go to the angel's advice. Ariel, new experiences with spirit are changing the way you view yourself. And the Grail Knight is here. And I think this is a removing of illusion. And I say that because of this position here. The illusion that you're not good enough, the illusion that you're not talented enough, the illusion that whatever you think you are not, that is not necessarily true. Because it's all part of the journey. You're putting all the pieces together. It wasn't like, I feel like I want to move all the compartments out and I'm blurring the lines of everything. And one thing is sort of leading to another, because here is the Patience card where you're synthesizing some kind of experiences you've had, and it's bringing out the goddess within you, Libra, or the God within you, the inner knowing that manifests from a different place. Oftentimes we look at this earth plane and we think this table is solid. And yet those of us that have been studying the divine laws of the universe and all the tools that have been given to us understand there's so much more that we cannot see with our very limited eyesight and our very limited five senses. So here, I think this is talking about some sort of celebration and bounty coming from trusting an inner knowing and letting that South Node be egoless to the opinions of others, and almost saying to yourself, you may not understand my motives now, but you'll experience them later. And I trust in that. Okay, let's go on to our Scorpios, rising, moon, sun, and stellium. Our tarot card for Scorpio is the Queen of Pentacles. This is a bountiful card, as evidenced by the rabbit running into the scene, offering prolific energy. And a lot of the queens look out, to the future. This queen is very proud of what she's created, and she's holding it ever so, I want to say, gently. Her tunic is red, so she's very aware of her primal needs of fight and flight, what she needs to survive. But she also, the white tunic underneath, to me, seems to indicate more of a purity of knowing that my heart is really something bigger. It's the soul within that then brings that experience into the material. And when I say the soul within, it's the soul that knows that I am not of this body. I am walking through this body to create experiences. So Scorpio, let's see where we're going with this. Our first angel for Scorpio is Archangel Uriel. I got to tell you, the square between Mars and Pluto is probably why Archangel Uriel is coming out so much today. Then we have Mystique, keep charging ahead. Then we have Layla, spending time in nature, talking to God and the angels. And then finally, Seraphina is offering a happy change to the family. And sometimes I think that family is the committee of my mind. There's a new movie coming out. I saw the first one called Inside Out. This one's Inside Out too, where they take a teenager and they show her emotional body. And I don't know if you've seen the trailer. It's coming out, I think, this month. But this is what I think is about for Scorpio, is the committee of your emotions inside of you. All right, let's see. Archangel Uriel is being joined by the movement card. Mystique is being joined by the hawk. Layla's being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. And then Seraphina is being joined by the frog. When I was looking at the queen, while she's a very prolific character, you can see there's this little cherub underneath her throne. And I feel like this is her inner child. And as I started to look, I was starting to think to myself, for my Scorpios, that there's something about birthing something in the material world for you. And maybe you've been working on that. And it could potentially be creating a family or creating a friendship family, creating a sense of connection with other people. Archangel Uriel infers frustration, anger. You're co-ruled by Mars, which rules anger, and yet there's movement here. So I want to offer this. I think you're becoming aware of the things that potentially inflame you in this earth plane. And now I'm thinking potentially that your awareness is bringing you a sense of wisdom as well, because Mystique is offering you a miracle as you rise above a situation and look at it from a broader perspective. And maybe even looking at it as to whether or not it is actually viable for you to live an experience in the earth plane. And I hope that made sense, because this would be, like, for instance, let me give you an example. Let's say you're applying for a job and you haven't had any movement in a job. You're frustrated. And you're like, I need a job. I need to pay my bills. To contemplate whether or not that job is really going to serve you long-term, even if you only plan on it for being short-term, could be the key that turns the lock that opens a new opportunity. And because if you decide that's not right for me and you don't take it, the next job could be better. And that's where the queen becomes very prolific and very bountiful. Because in the angel's advice is the birth and the rebirth card, and talking to God about your true intentions, Scorpio, not about just putting a Band-Aid on something. This is really about putting in a solution, because here the frog, to me, the way it comes out, it was bouncing out of the spread. So there's a potential for you to feel much more ease as you honor this frog in a way that I want to offer it this way, because I'm not seeing the frog today as actually releasing any sort of baggage as much as I'm seeing going to a Chinese restaurant and there's the frog with the coin in its mouth, or any Asian restaurant for that matter. And that feels like it brings bounty into your experience, more material resources for you. And now in some ways, looking at your material resources with more ease than angst. All right. onto our Sagittariuses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. I had to see the time. I have a client coming in a little bit. All right, Sagittarius. Let's see what your tarot card is. Okay. This is the Four of Pentacles, which is a very interesting and very earthy energy because this guy is a royal. He's not the royal. He's like a lord. He's a lower royal. And he holds his money very tightly, extremely frugal, in such a way that it almost seems as if he is unable to make more money because he's so focused on what he has and not losing it. Let's see where we're going here. This is for Sagittarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is is Ariel. The second angel is Patience. The third is Aurora. And the final is Indriel. I want to offer this as I'm shuffling to my Sagittarius. As I was starting to practice my entrepreneurial skills, I became very aware that money in my mind had certain vibrational, like I had reactions. I would hear some numbers and I would be able to accept them, and other numbers made me feel like they were hard to attain. So Spirit encouraged me to start to use the word resources instead of money. Because if for some reason you're feeling tight with your money, resources should be broad enough where it won't trigger any lower or limiting energies. Ariel is being joined by the birth and the rebirth card. This is where your divine connection to spirit and your conversation with them and your open-mindedness brings a rebirth in how you experience things. The patience card is being joined by perception. This is wild. You know, perception is everything, honestly. It's why you need multiple witnesses when something happens, because everybody sees something different. This is an opportunity to look at your own perceptions. And if for some reason you tend to err to the side of caution, caution sends a message of lack. Lack tends to send a message to the universe that inadvertently gets processed as, oh, that person wants lack. They think about it all the time. So now in the angel's advice, Aurora is being joined by the love card. This is where Aurora says you're flying high right now. Do not descend. You will soon inspire others through your example. And I want to offer this because your connection to spirit, if indeed you have any challenges with finances, and there's the potential with the aspects this week and that quincunx to between Venus, Mercury, and the sun, and then to Pluto, and then the square to Neptune, that there could be a challenge where you feel like money's going out, and when's it going to come back in? You're understanding the flow of money versus trying to hold on to it will actually bring more flow and more opportunities than you might suspect. Now we have literally Indriel being joined by the wealth card. And I don't usually refer to this card as money, but today, for some reason, for Sagittarius, I really do. It's almost as if that if you're looking at everything like projecting out into the future, oh no, this isn't happening, or la, 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 I got this bill, I got that bill, I got this bill. It's not serving you. Open up, thank the spirit for bringing all the resources that you need to take care of all of your obligations, and then leave it be. And you will really, truly inspire not only others, but yourself by your own faith, bringing in the resources that you need. All right, let's go on to our Capricorns, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Oh, I love this card. This is a card of self-satisfaction. Literally, it's all about this guy right here. He has been very aware of his fight or flight. We see that evidenced by his red headgear. I don't know, it's a hat of some kind. And we see the stripes. He's walked through the back and forth that he's had to do to talk himself into the right vibration. And now he feels a sense of satisfaction as he has become very good. We see this evidence by this large blue curtain, and he's got all of his cups lined up, waiting to fill them with whatever he wants. This is very fun, Capricorn. Now, I want to offer this because we know that no short order that Pluto is going to go back into the last degree of your first house. And this is just Pluto cleaning up whatever little parts of you that aren't coming from your heart, or considering your own satisfaction in a situation as you contemplate what you want, what's for you. All right, the Nine of Cups is being joined by Akasha, the spiritual teacher. We have Seraphina, a new happy change to the family. Chantal offers in love. And then we have Rochelle, having you come from your heart. Love that for my Cappies. That's what Pluto's whole transit's been about. Sort of recognizing where the duty, the obligation, the responsibility has eclipsed your ability to build in a magnificent way. So Akasha, the teacher, is being joined by the Raven. Seraphina is being joined by the Wealth card. Chantal is being joined by the Fear card. And the Frog comes out again, joining Rochelle. I want to offer this to my Capricorns, because those of you that have been studying spirituality, astrology, the divine laws of the universe, The Secret, Abraham Hicks. There's many ways to go about this. I feel like now is the time to recognize and to celebrate your journey and your continued journey, but also your journey, because Akasha to me says that you're learning about magic, and magic that creates not just from the hardcore building and the goat going up the hill, but also the satisfaction of the connection to spirit that brings in a sense of joint building. I don't know how I want to say it that way, but almost as if there's other people around, or there's other situations, or there's other dynamics that are supporting my endeavor. Because here, Seraphina in the opportunity, the obstacle, and the Wealth card makes me feel very much as if I have more people around me. And that becomes very warm and fuzzy, because now my leadership skills that are so strong, coupled with an awareness of my heart and my emotional body, people are recognizing that I'm making choices based on love instead of fear, that I'm making choices based on my heart, and it's bringing a sense of ease to me. Today, for some reason, when I look at that frog, normally, it's about cleaning up the mind and kind of calming things down, but I want to offer this because I really think this is about good luck and recognizing and feeling a sense of satisfaction that you are aware that your personal satisfaction, not just being there for other people, is primary to the whole group feeling connected and enjoying an experience, or our experience as a tribe, a family, a couple, a team. And again, I want to offer, while the transits can feel a little bit challenging, those of us that are seeking, what does this contrast have to offer me? We walk through those transits with, I think, a little bit more insulation from the jarring effect that can happen when we are feeling like, or we're not aware of our co-creation. We're walking through a little unconsciously. Okay. On to our Aquariuses, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Your tarot card is the King of Pentacles. Very Taurian energy, has a lot of bounty attached to it. And when I say bounty, I mean like good food, lots of resources. There's just an abundance of material pleasures. I also want to note this. If we look at the various positions of the kings and the queens as they sit in dominion over their suit, here we see that this guy is he's holding that coin very kind of just, very lightly. You know, he's looking out into what he's created. There's a sense of sort of, when I look at it, I almost get this sense of nostalgia. Like he's looking at like all the hard work that he did, everything he planted, and now it's all growing. The grapes are there. We're going to be making the wine soon. The pasta will be flowing, and everything is just the way he wanted it. The crown upon his head is just adorned with so much bounty. So I really think that this is sort of a pride feel. Let's see where we're going. Again, this is for Aquarius, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Our first angel is Isabella. Yes, the timing is right. Rochelle says to follow your heart. Ariel says, we're with you. The team is with you. And Francesca is saying, keep your eye on the prize. Keep your eye towards the future, towards what you've created, the inventory that works for you, not what you have yet to fill. Isabella is being joined by Merlin, alchemy, justice, and balance. Rochelle is being joined by the focus card. Focusing in on your heart brings wealth, and the wealth comes from harmonious feeling about life. And I want to offer it this way, because you can have money all day long and be miserable. You can have no money and be the most happy person on the planet. So again, this really comes into the idea of where's my focus? You keep your focus on your heart, Aquarius, on the things that make you unique and special. You rule genius. And I want to offer this too, because this is about resources. This is in the material world. Ariel is being joined by the trust card, and Francesca's being joined by the deer. So this is a process. You know, on some level, maybe we're inferring, I could capitalize on my story. Maybe he's not only looking at what he's created, he's watching it grow. Okay. Because this is, Merlin represents alchemy, justice, and balance. And yes, the timing is right for that. Now, your little part of this is to stay focused in on what you're planting, what's growing, to know that everything has its process. That's the trust card. And then we see Ariel, because now whatever's going on, Spirit has a hand in it. So they have the baton. And when the time comes, you'll get the baton back to you. So, you know, sometimes we want to take action because we're uncomfortable sitting in the calm of waiting for the baton. But this is where I think you can practice not just trust, but your visualizations, your intentions out into the universe. Francesca says, what will you visualize? Negativity blocks your progress. And then the deer here can be about fear, but also can be a paralyzing feeling. So I think what's going on is that there's something that's being in the midst of, there's a big manifestation on its way. That's kind of the way I want to put it. The king would indicate something that is bigger, that has a dominion. There's something that is going to be rooted into the physical world. And now, well, there's a certain amount of process going on. You know, it could even be, I could say this is a random example. What if you're an Aquarius and you're buying a house, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, and you're going through the process of having to, you know, bid and and all these things, keeping your eye on the prize of what you want. Now, that's not just the house, but what the house has to offer you in the way of feeling a home, feeling connectedness, feeling a sense of belonging. That's the deeper thing. That, as you stay anchored, Aquarius, will start to allow the process to make more sense to you, and where you will understand how important it is to focus on your heart, not your head. Okay, on to our Pisces, rising, moon, sun, and stelliums. Ooh, Pisces, the Wheel of Fortune. Now, this is a very powerful card because it's not necessarily good or bad, because the Wheel of Fortune goes round and round. And as you can see at the top, we see the Sphinx holding the sword. We also see that all the characters, or all the elements of the Zodiac, are represented. We see the fire represented by the lion. We see the earth represented by the bull. We see the air represented by the angel. And then we see the water represented by this eagle energy. And this challenging little what looks like a potential demon is challenging because sometimes we start to focus on things that are of the human structure. So when I look at the Sphinx, I say the reason, how do you stay at the top of the wheel, is being aware of your thoughts. It's not always being able to change your thoughts. When we see the Sphinx, we see the black and the white. So there are contrasting things. We understand that in the human experience, but where will I reside? Will I reside in faith, or will I reside in a powerless, fearless state? And I want to offer this because Pisces, Saturn is going through your first house and it's stationing to go retrograde, which means Saturn's basically standing with his hands on his hips in the sky saying, are you connecting with your divinity? Are you connecting with the bigger part of yourself, or are you giving yourself away through your empathy, through your compassion? It's not to throw either away, but to have a balance. So let's see where we're going. Our first angel is Yvonne, my angel of vulnerability. Then I have Rosetta, the angel of children. I have Rochelle, following your heart. So this is your inner child. And then we have Seraphina, a new happy change to your family. Yvonne is being joined by the deer. Rosetta is being joined by the restriction card. Rochelle is being joined by the hawk. And Seraphina is being joined by the queen. All right, my Pisces, very much this is, of all the signs of the zodiac, Pisces is the most sort of susceptible to the bipolarness of the human experience, how beautiful it can be and how horrific it can be. So here, Yvonne represents vulnerability, and the deer here represents a gentleness and a diplomacy. So as you become aware of where you sit on the wheel and where your thoughts are, this is an opportunity to display the compassion and empathy that you have for others to the self, because somehow you're restricting the inner child. I don't know how that is. It could, depending upon your chart, this is Pisces rising. You might have a Gemini sun. You might have even a Virgo rising and have a stellium in Pisces and having a lot of Saturn's effect on how you're feeling, because I feel like this is the restriction of the inner child, because the inner child believes in magic, believes in heroes. So here, Spirit is saying, pull your sight up, come from your heart, come from your divinity. One of the things that I've been talking about that is the main theme for me of Saturn's transit through Pisces is creating a strong foundation with your source, with the Great Spirit that watches over you, with the universal laws that are scientifically proven. Because Seraphina talks about a happy change to your family, very much infers potentially bringing a new one in. And then we have the Queen, which is about receptivity. It's also about fertility. So I want to offer this because we know that the Cancer energy trines you. And as that energy trines you, it's your fifth house, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, Pisces, Aries. Yeah, it's your fifth house. This is the conception of children. So if for some reason you're conceiving an idea, you're birthing or gestating a heartfelt project, or even wanting to birth a little human into this world, your opportunity is to relax a little bit and to know that you're working with the soul of a child who also has an agenda. And do the transits support that agenda or that mission or that plan? And then relax. So, and if for some reason it's not a little human, but your soul could also have potentially contracted to go through a period of time where you were creating something, and you would sit in a place where you had to internally decide the viability of that. Literally decide, am I worthy? Am I not worthy? Am I willing to do the hard work of believing in myself without maybe the support of others right now? And do I believe that the universe will supply everything that I need to create the things that I want? Because when we create of our own, our talents, we end up bringing in connections with others who have a similar interest or a similar frequency to us. So I'm offering that for my Pisces. All right, on to our Aries, rising moon, sun, and stelliums. Our tarot card is the Knight of Wands. This guy is fire all day long. The knights are all fiery. They're like teenagers. They're full of passion and willingness to adventure and discover themselves. And here we see fire on fire because this is the Wands. Now the plume is red. Oh, he's following his passions. He's not even looking where he's going. Now, isn't that very Aryan? Let's see where we're going, Aries. Because when I see the I don't know if it's geckos or salamanders on his tunic, I always kind of equate that to like a chameleon. Okay. I know it doesn't sound right with for Aries, but here where I'm going with this is the power lies in being able to relate to others or in sometimes assimilate it with an awareness of others, but always keeping your eye on your prize of what you want for you. That's that red plume, that red feather. Looks like fire. And I must imagine that having the square to Pluto right now might not have been the easiest last week for you, having to be aware of the fire within and learning how to use it, you know, so no one snuffs out your torch. All right, Aries, our first angel is Crystal. Have faith. There's more on the horizon. Archangel Michael is asking you to have the courage to be aware of your own energy and your energy to focus on the prize, or are you going to go to the dark side, the negativity, as evidenced by Francesca? And in the final position, protection through Xana. One of the things that surprisingly enough that I've found myself doing lately is praying for the people that have irritated me the most. Because in the last year, I have discovered a peaceful warrior. I am like Keith Carradine in Kung Fu. I walk in looking all unassuming, but if you mess with me, man, I'm about to kick you. And yet nobody sees me coming. That's my Aries rising. I think we're going here. All right, my Aries, Crystal is being joined by the frog. That's that good luck I've been talking about this week. Archangel Michael is being joined by the Grail Knight. I love that. Francesca's being joined by the Wrist card. And then our final angel, Xana, is being joined by the Goblin. Very interesting. So one of the things as an Aries rising is I have experienced myself being this combination of being right technically and having a completely wrong approach about being right, meaning way too in someone's face, charging way too much fire, too hard, too fast. Crystal is saying, have faith and hope there's more on the horizon, because you're about to experience yourself in a way you never have before, where you understand, recognize, see, and experience the full spectrum of your emotional body. And now you play it like a piano player or like a guitarist or somebody who knows how to play the instrument to make music instead of banging on it. Because here, this is about seeking the sacred. This is really the night. Sorry, hold on. I need to get my meeting back. This is really the knight, meaning the knights of the round table. This is who you are. You are not a banshee. You are a peaceful warrior who stands up. You are a hero. And now is the time to have the courage to claim that. It's sort of rewriting that energy, you know? It's saying, I got all this in me, but it doesn't mean I play it every time. Because the risk here is allowing other people and the imprint that has been, the negative parts of you, to override the passions and the prowess that you have extracted from yourself. I really think that you've experienced from yourself, because this protection, now it feels like you're protected from edging God out. You know, when I think about a knight, I think about, it's not just a holy mission for the church. It's a protector. It's somebody who says, I want the people that I can, if I can help somebody, I want them to have the best, and I want the best for myself, experience whatever that is. And the reason I say that is because I think this is a little bit about rewriting how people perceive you and your personality. Scorpio is another one that gets a really rough game, right? Yeah, brooders, intense, and that can all be very true. But these are two signs that when they have your back, you got the best people behind you. So here it's time to claim that, Aries. It's time to start to use your fire towards the endeavors that are passionate to your heart. And if you find yourself rubbing up against people who want to continue to pigeonhole you, then you just let them have their viewpoint and you move on. You don't let your ego get the best of you. Because if it does, you'll just be playing to people that don't even matter, honestly. Again, we think of it as vibrational. And I do think that the challenging square between Pluto and Mars last week and even into this new week, it could be bringing some stuff up. So no road rage, no telling anybody, right from wrong this week. Keep it to yourself. All right, our final sign today is our Tauruses. And we have this wonderful, loving Knight of Cups. Now, all our knights have an element of fire because they're teenagers. And here we see this combined with this wonderful element of water, of emotion. And then I can't help but see these wings, right? So it makes me feel as if there's the potential of thinking about things that are enjoyable, creative, things that fill your heart. Let's look and see where we're going. Your ruling planet, Venus, will move into Cancer this week. So this could bring home, literally, home to home. You could have nostalgia this week. You could be feeling a sense of the warm and fuzzies. Let's see where we're going. We have Ariel saying new psychic and spiritual experiences are shifting you. We have Akasha, the teacher. We have Bethany, which is about self-care. And then we have Archangel Michael, which is about courage in this particular deck. It's also about protection. Ariel's being joined by the letting go card. Akasha's being joined by the horse. Bethany's being joined by the high priestess. And Archangel Michael's being joined by the Grail Knight. All right, my Tauruses. So you've experienced a lot of energy recently. You had Jupiter moving through your first house. You still have Uranus in your first house, liberating you and bringing out your genius, which is so amazing. So what I think we're seeing here is a continued journey of following your heart, your creativity, and understanding that there's a certain amount of your mind that is going to kind of, when I look at the wings and I think of Venus and Mercury traveling together, I think we're thinking a lot about our creativity, about where we want to be, about letting go of our fears and expressing ourselves, almost stretching our creative skills, our voice, our craftsmanship. Because now this connection to spirit makes me feel as if I understand that fear is the very thing that I must walk through in order to feel the exhilaration of my own creation. So here is Akasha, the teacher, showing me how to move. I literally think that when I look at the horse, it's about movement. It's a 26, which reduces down to an 8. By nature, Taurus does not move rapidly. It likes to have a certain journey of understanding and be comfortable, dependability. And yet this is a journey of the heart that the Knight of Cups is taking you on. And here, this is about a delegating very much to the inner knowing of what the Akasha is a spiritual teacher. Your spiritual journey is where you should be moving towards, trusting that if you have a yearning for something, your soul has a natural ability for it. Because here in the angel's vice is you taking care of you. And then we see the high priestess. And again, this is like touching on a deeper part of myself that expresses something that when we are out of body and we have talents, we are not afraid to express them. But there's a little bit of a dullness because when you go under the veil of unknowing and you express them, there's an exhilaration attached to it. So here, I think the high priestess is calling forth the inner knowing of what you are on the inside, because now they're asking you to have the courage, literally, to bow down to your deepest truth, to trust that when you express your love, your emotions, the things that you want, that there will be the alignment of those that support, understand, and have the same wants and desires for themselves. So whenever I go to any of the earth signs and I see them pushing themselves out of the human box of the physical, the 3D world, I feel like they have the biggest impact on the rest of us, because they have that ability to go from a skeptic to a believer, essentially. And as they experience that transformation in the 3D world, they become beautiful witnesses for others just by their own life, by how they live their life and how they make their choices. So I think this is a very powerful, again, week, because the more we walk forward through human time into a place that is really timeless, and we understand that our thoughts are things, and we don't villainize ourselves or struggle to be positive, but rather surrender and then ask and commune with spirit to strengthen us and give us fortitude, we will be blossomers, and people will witness that. So that's it for me for this week. I'll be back live on Sunday. I think it's the 23rd. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm recording this the day before Father's Day, the 16th. So 7 and 6, 23rd. Yep. We should be back on the 23rd. And I hope you'll join me. And in the meantime, have a lovely week. Peace out, everybody. See you soon.